Found out that my 40 meters wife 39F cheated on me 5 years ago for up to 9 months, and she is not at all remorseful. The story. 5 years ago we were both in our early 30s. My wife is very beautiful and S-timey, green eyes, beautiful face, fit, S-timey body, big breasts. She is also intelligent, a professional with her own career and financial independence. Myself, women have always found me appealing. I had quite many girlfriends before we married 7 years ago. I'm also an independent professional with an excellent income and a prospective career. After we married, I have never cheated on my wife, although I have had many opportunities, some of them of the kind not to miss. My wife only has had one boyfriend before myself. Not that she says much about her first boyfriend, but the thing I know is that they haven't had any vaginal S-time since she was virgin when we had S-time together for first time pretty much time after starting to date and not long before we married. This is not a big surprise, since she have received quite a conservative education by her mother, a very restrictive one indeed. Currently, however, she is quite open and liberal with respect to S-time. Our marriage was in the beginning difficult, mostly because of interfering parents and financial difficulties. We loved each other but have had quite serious fights and even thinking to divorce. 5 years ago we have lived far from each other for 9 months, since I left for another country due to a job. She lived these 9 months in the city where we married and where also lives her former boyfriend. After these 9 months she came to live with me and we never came back. When I left before this period of 9 months and left her alone, we were in quite bad period of our marriage, writing angry emails to each other, or not calling each other for a week or so. During this time she had both reason to cheat, deteriorating relationship and opportunity. Her job and her former boyfriend's job were nearly at the same place. I know not any secret, for instance, that they have had lunches together many times, alone or with other colleagues. Former boyfriend is 10 years older than both of us, but kind of Don Juan, appealing to women, and I'm sure that he would not have missed opportunity to compensate for not entirely consummated relationship when he was dating her. I can imagine he has been quite badly surprised during that time, such an experienced guy and big lover not managing to bring the things to the end with such an attractive girl. Anyway, when, at the end of those 9 months my wife and me reunited again, our relationship immediately improved. There were no disturbing factors as interfering parents and financial problems, and continues happy till these days. We have a baby daughter together and rely on each other and love each other. One thing that surprised me very much the first night after those 9 months of separation was a big change in the S-time behavior of my wife. During the first 2 years before the period I'm referring to, we had intense and relatively good S-time life, but still she seldom was reaching orgasms. The night after the period of 9 months during which I suspect she cheated with her former boyfriend, she had 3 explosive orgasms. And in the weeks and months after that she have had a very strong S-time drive. She also became open to new things in bed, has been achieving orgasm every time we have had S-time, even multiple orgasms, even crying after orgasm, whatever you can imagine. It was a phase transition, from enjoying S-time but being conservative and quite passive, to a S-time machine. Currently, we still enjoy very intense S-time, obviously not so explosive. My point is, that such a change is usually associated by S-timiologists, psychologists, with cheating getting disinhibited, gaining new experiences when cheating, or feeling guilty crying after orgasm. Never happened to her before that period nor after it. My delicate tries to understand what the reason for this brutal transition, ended up with some semi-angry short comments because I missed you terribly, maybe, or maybe not. Her former boyfriend is currently married with 2 children. He regularly sends my wife emails for her birthday and for Christmas. These emails are short and nearly formal, except the familiar pet name he calls her, and except some short comments which can be interpreted one way or another depending what you know and believe. But to me they are not totally innocent, hint to possibly some well-kept secret between them, and not one related to their unfruitful relationship from the time before I met my wife. Emails which don't even send kisses, but still. Where do I know about the emails? Okay, I started to become a spy maniac after a considerable effort. I cracked my wife's passwords and can access her email. In addition, there have been occasionally some comments by my wife, very ambiguous ones, that could possibly mean something like "besides you're handsome and sometimes hot." And also a good friend and a good companion. There are men who are more men, I don't know in what sense possibly, better lovers, but more probably she means something like more authoritative, powerful, commanding, not particularly myself, and it's known that some women, possibly many of them, value such features, although it's not much politically correct to admit it. Anyway, I am getting more and more obsessed with this old story of possible cheating, because I have been loyal during all these years and because I love her. Recently I found what was a statement by the ex-boyfriend about backdoor time. Well, with information that I have gathered over time with her conversations with him, I finally confronted her. After a good bit of interrogation, she admitted to having an affair. What irks me the most about all of this is that she isn't in any way remorseful. I have asked her for a timeline of what happened. She doesn't want to share that. I said that I wanted to contact the other man's spouse. She was completely against that as well. She isn't showing any sign of remorse. I don't want to divorce her, but I have grown more and more resentful. She said we had time, so what? I have considered to have an affair to get revenge or some type of response out of her. I know I am not in a proper emotional state right now. It's not even the affair that is getting me mad. What's really getting at me is the fact she doesn't feel like she did anything wrong and is making me feel like the crazy one. I have always had a hunch about this affair. It's been eating away at me, just the curiosity in itself. I have suggested counseling. She tells me I need to get over it, that we don't need counseling. Sorry for the long story. I'd appreciate any opinions, tips, comparisons, criticisms, by both timies. Thanks. TLDR, I find out that 5 years ago my wife had an affair with an ex-boyfriend, but now she isn't at all remorseful and doesn't think she did anything wrong. Redditors' reactions. Redditor 1. One thing I learned from my relatives who annulled divorce their unfaithful spouses: there is no rebuilding, no reconciliation if there is no remorse. That's it. Redditor 2. Get out. Get out now. If she had any remorse, or genuinely felt bad about it, it's a more ambiguous situation that doesn't necessarily merit extreme response. This bullshit though? This merits extreme response. Maybe it's because she's had so few previous relationships, maybe it's just an aspect of her personality. Regardless, but this is not a justifiable attitude to have. Even if it was a long time ago, that's just cold. If she is aware of your intense monitoring, that could go some way to explaining her attitude, even if that doesn't improve her reaction. But where do I start? She considers this a non-issue. She feels no need to take responsibility for the emotional harm this information has caused. She seems to maintain an inappropriate level of closeness with someone she had an affair with. Your trust in the relationship is understandably shaken, if not broken. That's difficult, sometimes impossible to rebuild. If you have to spy on her to feel like you understand her emotionally, things are edging toward FUBAR. I'm generally slow to insinuate a breakup is necessary, because I feel like it often isn't. But her attitudes and actions aren't healthy, and neither are your own. For both of your sakes, I don't think you should try to salvage the Titanic. Redditor 3, we had sex, so what? Well, now I need you to sign these papers and get the duck out of my home.